We're going to get into Zack Baun from Wisconsin.
Listen, I love Zack Baun. And honestly, I think outside of Joe Burrow, there's not been any other player in this entire draft that's helped themselves more on the field by what they've done in their production. This is a kid that's playing his best football on the way out.
Yes.
And he has the calluses on his hands from all the hard work. I enjoyed watching this guy play this year.
He was fun to watch. We got to give props to Chris Orr as well, who also made some big plays for Wisconsin. And then the reality is when we get into this Baun tape, you're going to see a guy that's really well coached.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you brought up Chris Orr because legitimately a lot of the plays that Zack Baun made were a byproduct of what Chris Orr was doing inside. You got a disruptive guy in the middle, but you got a guy that can come off the edge, but still with the speed, the athleticism, kind of that new wave of what we're seeing, the new age linebackers. This kid's a very special talent.
Yeah, and I want to say this. I'm going to say this straight to the camera. Do not sell that athleticism short. Like, you can tell me this is a guy that you were with me when we were shooting in the gym. This guy's a hard worker. Here's the reality. We're going to see it on tape too. He is incredibly explosive.
Yeah, and I loved O'Brien Schofield. He's a kid from Chicago, explosive off the edge. To me, Zack Baun's got a little higher upside. I see a little bit more twitch in his body, a little bit more athleticism. Remember, he was a quarterback in high school. Ooh. And so this is a guy that's got some natural speed to him. And I think we were able to see him utilize that on the field.
Yeah, I love his takeoff. I love the fact that he works very hard to make sure people don't get hands on him. We're going to see it here. That little club and the slap to get the offensive tackle's hands off of him so that he can keep getting to the quarterback.
Well, the first thing you see is that he recognizes how this tackle wants to play him. Now, again, this is Kent State, so I'm not overly enamored with the play of the tackle, but watch this. Tackle sits, his hands are low, so he knows that I can come down with the chop exactly right and then burst to the quarterback. Here's a better look at it. So he's sizing him up right here.
Yeah.
He's eating the snap, so he knows he's going to get off. Now, hands are low, come down. Now we explode. There's the burst to close to the quarterback. Not just happy with getting the sack. Let me get the ball out.
Yes.
That's a tremendously disruptive play. Give my offense a chance to get back on the field.
Anytime as a defensive end, as a rush linebacker, anytime as a blitzer, anytime you can get that tackle looking at grass, you know you got his ass.
Well, and I think also what we should look at here too is that, he's just so explosive, but the ability to flatline and come down the line to make the play, that's pretty unique as well.
Yeah, and I like this one. He wants to work, right? And this is against Illinois, and you see that little rip, but I love the fact that, again, you mentioned this already, the way that he's reaching to try to get that football out.
Yeah, and I think what he shows here that's most impressive is that not only the finish, but the ability to come back down the line. Now, I mentioned the first level of competition wasn't as great. This one's a little better. He knows this guy's got size and length. He doesn't want to run the hump. He wants to shorten the edge as much as possible. Now you're talking geometry, folks. How do I get there on the angle? And he realizes that when he sees it. What I love and what scouts are going to love is not only gets his jump, but the ability to get the foot in the ground and explode there and get to the quarterback and make that turn without running the hump. Shows you that this kid is well coached, so give Jim Leonard his props. This is a guy that's also a student in the game.
Yeah, I love that. I love the little rip, right? He wants to get underneath. You get up underneath those pads of that offensive lineman, and you go make a play. I wanted to put this one on here because, honestly, I don't understand what people are thinking.
Tight end?
What are you doing?
That was the first thing I said. Tight end, don't do it. Don't do it. This is purely on the offensive coach. You cannot put a tight end on this kid.
PJ Fleck, what are you thinking?
You know that he has been an issue coming off the edge. Why in the world would you have a tight end? Now watch this. This is a great look at it. Look how low he gets. It's almost like he's shot out of a cannon. All right.
No chance.
But this is one of my favorite looks at it here because this is where he's going to make some money. Watch the way that right foot when he comes off, it's going to get in the ground. There. Now you flatline. Yeah, you flatline and you get to the quarterback. That's that old drill where you put your foot in the ground and you redirect. Excellent example of it there.
And then here's the other one, right? J.K. Dobbins. And this is what I love about him. We've seen so much speed, right?
Yep.
But now he's like, I've got to go through you to get to Justin Fields. So he's going to take 1 and 2, and he's going to combine them, and he just goes straight through them, straight through Dobbins to go get there.
And let's give us some context. I mean, I saw Justin Fields up close at the Northwestern game this year. He is a big man.
Yes,
so not only is this guy running through Dobbins, clearly Dobbins wants no part, but it shows you how heavy his hands are. Watch this, folks. He disengages. Watch the hand strength to pull it. This is a big man
Yes,
that he's
get on the
able to
ground.
pull over to get him down on the ground. So this is a guy, again, not your typical former quarterback in high school.
Sure.
This is a guy that will thump, and we can see it right here. This is a tremendous play.
I mean, you see Dobbins come off his feet.
Mm-hmm.
We see him come off his feet, and Baun goes out and makes that play. I think that is that speaks directly to what he wants to do, what he wants to be. He wants to be a violent player. He transitions that speed to power, and I think that's huge. So when you look at him from a combine standpoint, what are you looking for the most?
I think his straight line speed. I think he's really going to run well. He'll probably run in the 4.5s based on what we see on tape. Now, this is a guy, 6'3", he's going to probably be 240, 245-ish. So those are great numbers. I also see explosion. I would imagine he's going to vertical jump. He's going to go over 35 inches in his vertical jump. I imagine his broad's going to be over 10 feet. So he's going to do the things that you expect gifted athletes to do and to substantiate exactly what we see on this film. He is a pass rush extraordinaire. Now remember, Michael, let's be fair. This kid's done 1 year of great pass rush
big work,
stuff.
right.
So that'll be something that scouts will question and query him on. Okay, why didn't you do this before?
Right.
You had a great year. You were always a tackling machine. But now he put it all together, and he's able to get to the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, it's odd when you look at this and you don't see any Ohio State players on here. I think that's a little bit odd, but the fact that he is right there on that list with a guy like Kenny Willekes, obviously, is that's a big step for them. So I look at him, and honestly, Seymour, I watch him, and I guess the question becomes, do you bring him in? Is he a 3-4 exclusive player?
I think so. Yeah, I don't see him as a guy that's going to play with his hand in the dirt. So
Right.
I don't think he'll ever be like a
4-3 end.
4-3 base
Right.
end. No, I think he's a 3-4 outside backer, and what we call in the NFL now DPR, designated pass rusher, a guy that comes in on obvious passing downs, and you say, all right, just go line up, get to the quarterback. We'll put you out wide, let you work one-on-one with heavy-footed tackles. We can put you inside, move you around. That's going to be the strength. But that's great because there's a premium on that these days.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of guys make a lot of money doing that. Here you see him standing up, and I do like this element of his game. He's got there's an awareness to him, and there's some footwork that makes him special.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to belabor it, but he was a former quarterback in high school, so he knows what quarterbacks' reads are, where they want to go for the ball. He's extremely instinctive, but he has a high football IQ, and that's how you make a play like this. Going in the throwing lane, again, not just happy with the interception, let's crib this thing, because I know what a game-changing play that means when the defense scores. It helps the offense out, and chances are you win the game. That's a heck of a play right there.
It's a ball that's right behind him. He reaches back with the one hand. He's able to corral that thing, and I think that speaks to some of the athleticism, speaks to, former quarterback, speaks to sort of that versatility, those ball skills, the ability to make those things happen. I love that, and I do love the fact that he took it to the house because he's someone that's not just thinking interception's good enough. I need to score.
Yeah, and I think also we should mention, too, that he could be, a 4-3 outside backer for sure. We move him out maybe on the weak side because he shows his range. Here he's making a play on the backside. His speed kills. You can't coach that, people. This guy comes off the edge. He's able to close to the ball. That's what you're going to look at on him, and you're going to say, all right, we look at the frame. He's played with some strength. He shows speed consistently, and he makes the big-time play every single time. He did that for Wisconsin constantly this year. It was either him or Chris Orr making every single play for Wisconsin.
Yeah, I love that he just gets in that back pocket, runs it down, and boom, let's go make a play. And we mentioned this, right? We mentioned the ability to play with power, and I love this play. This is my favorite one that we have of him because even though he does not make the tackle, he makes the play.
Yeah, look at that. Take on. Take on. And strength. I mean, there you look at him, you're like, well, how's his lower body strength? Well, I think he gives you a good example of that. You take on two people and watch the long arm. He's very good at shooting that arm and creating, disengaging, but also rocking back. Now you get the cavalry there. Eric Burrell makes a play.
Let's let him, you fill in behind me. I love this. This is a guy that, he's on the edge right here, right? And he engages. They got two guys on. We got a tight end and we got a tackle. Both of those guys should be able to move him out of the way so that this run could get to the sideline. And instead he said, no, sir, not today.
Yeah.
Long arm, and I love this shot. This is the shot right here. And when we roll it, you'll see here, boom. He's not in frame yet, and then he's in frame, holding them both off, pushing, moving the line of scrimmage back so that his man can make the play.
Yeah, and don't get it twisted. The kid plays with fire. He plays with toughness, and that's going to be the other thing that they're going to do. He's going to interview extremely well, so he's going to build some equity with teams that way. This guy's film it's been extraordinary this year. He really has played good football, and you're going to hear more and more about him, particularly after he leaves Indy in the combine.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching what he brings to the table in terms of running, in terms of that explosion. I'm looking forward to his broad jump as well. When you see him and you think about that 1 year of big production, what do you think was the catalyst for him to be so active behind the line of scrimmage?
I think Chris Orr really was a big factor in that, but I also think it just started to click for him. Sometimes for players, you want them to play their best football on the way out. And I think for this kid, that's exactly what he did. Jim Leonard put him in winnable spots or positions to succeed. He embraced the coaching. He stayed glued to the process, and now all of a sudden he's put himself in optimal position in this NFL draft.
Yeah, he's in prime position. You see that strength that he brings to the table. You see that long arm, and you look at the edge guys. He's on that list, a short list, really. Obviously, Chase Young feels like he's at the top.
Sure.
You throw in A.J. Epinesa. When you look at this, I think a guy like K'Lavon Chaisson is an interesting fit because he didn't have some of the numbers that the other guys have, but he does have that ability to wreck a game like we talked about going into the title game. You look at these guys, is there someone that you think is a little bit under the radar out of this group?
Well, I think if you look at it here, I see a lot of 4-3 base ends. You look at Chase Young, Epinesa certainly has done that. Eter Gross-Matos, I think the same thing. Bradley Anae, Jabari Zuniga, who's kind of that pass rush type guy too. But I think with Zack Baun, he's going to be probably typecast more as that outside linebacker,
right.
3-4.
Him and Terrell Lewis.
Exactly right. I think, and that'll be the distinction. And that's where the speed element's really going to come in. You're going to want him to go 4.62 or better.
Okay, looking forward to watching him run. I want to see that explosiveness with Zack Baun. Obviously, we've already talked about a couple other guys. I am looking forward so much looking forward to watching this combine.
He's an intriguing kid, man. Go get it. Go make yourself some money.